All right. So yes, if you can tell me a little bit about generally what your thoughts have been on the election season here itself.
It has been an absolute, unprecedented election season, right? We have a pandemic, and then the um, the trouble, I should say, the trouble with the mail and getting mail delivered and cutting funding for the post office and all of these things that have just added to the stress of this cycle. And I think, though, people are really ready for something to change. I think people are ready to stop watching so much division and hardship, and are openly talking about what they're struggling with and what needs to be done. And I think this is the cycle that changes everything, this season that changes everything. So I'm hopeful, yet nervous at the same time.
I guess you would be the day before. so, so then the process this year is new with somewhat with all the mail-ins and everything. So, how has that been working? And do you have any thoughts on how it's been working overall, and then specifically with Cumberland County, how it's gone?
I think that I think mail-in voting has been done in many other states, and it's about time we move that direction and have that done. Except that we really needed to see further into the process, and each county doing it the same way would have been nice. And legislators pushing the fact that they can pre-canvass before election day and get ready to get those ballots counted on election day as soon as possible, so we don't have that time waiting afterwards. And I mean, the scariness with with a decision from the Supreme Court that we could not count those votes if President Trump calls it, or if they decide the ones that come in later, is frightening, because that is interfering with our democracy, right? Voter suppression. You're taking away people's voices. You're taking away their votes, and we need to make sure every vote is counted. I think we could have done a little bit better in Cumberland County. However, there's also there's a financial aspect to it. There's a staffing aspect to it. There are a lot of different aspects that we have to pay attention to. And I really hold more so our sitting legislators that haven't been advocating for the process to be a little bit easier and have been stalling at every turn. So hopefully it'll get better moving forward into next year. But I think it's great that we do have mail-in voting, especially in the midst of the pandemic. We want to keep people safe. That should be our main goal. And now we have numbers that are skyrocketing again, and we have people going to the polls tomorrow. So I just hope everybody wears a mask and keeps distant.
Sort of a follow up to that, and it came up in another conversation with another candidate. With the concerns that it's not just, I guess, Cumberland County, there's like 5 or 6 other counties that are waiting till Wednesday, start counting. Would you be, if elected, would you be in favor of or support legislation that would change that time frame that the counties can start the count?
Um, the the opening of the ballots and getting them ready to run through the machines, absolutely.
Okay, right, the
Yes, so
pre-canvassing, I
that way we
mean.
can count in the morning of election day. Absolutely, absolutely.
Um, so then let's see, now we're up to the thoughts about your race and how that's been going for you. And you can include what kind of things you've been doing or generally how it's been, whatever strikes you.
It has been amazing. It has been eye-opening, and just learning about myself and talking about what I talk about with people. Opening myself up to talk about my son's death and our struggles as a family and hardships, and just making myself vulnerable, putting myself out there, has been quite an educational process, I'll say. But also, it brought a lot of hope, because there are so many other families that are struggling, and it gave people space to share their stories with me and their struggles. And it just lets people know that not one of us is alone, right? There are more than I ever thought. when we started our journey through the mental health system. And it's time that we fix it. So it's been encouraging, inspiring, eye opening, and hopeful that people are ready for a change and they realize that, you know, there is no white picket fence and there's no perfect family, that we all are just people and we have our struggles. And the sooner we talk about the struggles, the sooner we can really put some policy in place to help the people that are most vulnerable and help the people in our communities.
Okay. Um, and then I had a couple, what kinds of things have people been talking to you about? I mean, you said about you sharing your story, but what are the things they're bringing to
Oh,
you?
the cost of medications,
Hmm.
the lack of mental health services, I think, has been like the number one issue that people bring to me. Of course, now we have small businesses and businesses that, possibly won't stay open or have shut their doors because of, the economic distress because of the pandemic, and economic hardship. There's health insurance, the lack of health insurance. People can't afford health insurance. I mean, those are, I would say, are the top three. We have education is huge as well. So many kids in our schools are not receiving the services that are needed and the resources that are needed because of, funding cuts, and because of pulling money for, or trying to pull money for education credits and tuition credits. And we don't have what we need in our schools, and we're giving these corporations tax breaks, or we're letting these multi-state companies, get away with not paying any taxes here in Pennsylvania, yet our schools are poorly funded. um, and I mean, and our roads are terrible, let's be honest, right? Like, yeah, we need to start, standing up for ourselves here and taking care of the people here before we take care of, these companies that are making so much money. So
Okay.
especially our kids and our elderly.
Right. So what's your plan for tomorrow and for the time that the counting is going on?
A lot of prayers, I think, a lot of prayers. um, and being out there at the polling places, talking to voters as they come in, um, thanking them for coming and casting their vote. Even if their vote is not for me, it's still, it's tense out there right now. And to, risk your health or just come out and walk through whatever crowds will be to get in there and cast your vote and wait in line. Just thank them for coming out and get through the day with talking to as many voters as possible. And um, that's really it. Why the counting's going on, I don't know. I'll be down there at the Bureau of Elections watching. Um, I will try some deep breathing exercises through the week. But yeah, just waiting it out. Just, I know that we did all we can. I know that we gave all we had, and I am grateful for all the support that we had here. And there's not much left to do besides calling voters tomorrow and being there and being present and talking to the people, the residents in the 87th.
Okay. And then just the last, I just wanted to give you some room to, or space to, any other thoughts that you had on anything to do with all of this that
Um,
might not have covered.
I just know that no matter what our differences are, no matter what parties we belong to, um, you know, we all just want the same thing. We just want to take care of our families. We just want our health. We want to watch over our neighbors and be loved and thrive in society and put food on the table and pay our bills. And I think that it's a time that not only in the Commonwealth but across the nation that we really come together and start to heal and grow and move past um, the the division that has been so long. And just, it was quiet division before, and now it's really amped up, and we have to start, dismantling the systems that are really holding people down and coming together and grow as a nation. So that's it. I hope this is the year. I hope I hope we get many wonderful candidates elected, and we did enough to change what we're seeing now for our kids, because it's sad to have our kids watch what's going on now. And going back to the issues, I mean, the environment is a huge issue. There's so many issues. I mean, there are just so many issues that are so important and vital to our communities, and all of them need addressed. All of them. And we just
Okay.
can't ignore it anymore.
Great. Well, thank you so much for chatting with me this evening. We'll use parts of this interview for the election night coverage, which obviously we can't say who won because we won't know, but we'll be using it as part of a story that will include where things are at the moment in the races. So that will be posted pretty late tomorrow night. But thanks a lot for your help.
Thank you for your time, and thanks for reaching out. I look forward to a win, maybe next week, right when the election results are in.
Whenever it happens, right?
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so
Thanks
much.
Tammy. Have a good night.
You. Bye.